everybody, this is Violet. I'm obviously in the car. I'm on the classic I-5, which is completely boring and flat, so you might see nothing in the background other than my puppy May. But I feel really inspired to share something with you today about when we feel resentment in relationship and when we feel unworthy or unwilling to make change. So how many of you are kind of sitting on a change that you want to make in your life? You know, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to have a better relationship, maybe you want to change your career. We're going to talk specifically about love stuff because that's my jam, but there's a lot of areas in our life where we feel hesitant to make a change. And I want to peel back the onion on that because it's costing you a lot. When you don't take the change that you know is necessary for your next evolution, for your next growth, for the next level of passion in your love life and next level of beauty as you unfold, then something dies. Like something dies inside when we're not willing to make that change. It'd be like a snake that's like, I am not willing to shed my skin. That snake would not live. You know, it'd be like a caterpillar that is not willing to go through its metamorphosis. Like it would not turn into a butterfly. Like we are designed to change. Nature wants us to change and it is inherent. So without change, we're dead. But why is it so hard? You know, it's oftentimes so hard because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. Like, if I change, then will I be accepted? You know, if I break up with this guy, is my mom going to be upset and shame me for it and say, well, you know, now you're never going to have kids? If I take this new job, is my partner going to be threatened and leave me? Like, there's all of these fears that come up, and we can make ourselves really small because we're trying to protect the other person. And we might think that we're doing that for altruistic reasons. Like, we might think that that's the right thing to do for a relationship or the right thing to do for, you know, maintaining the peace. But there's a huge cost for that. I just realized my camera totally got tilted. That's okay. You can see more of my dog now. There's a huge cost for that. And the cost is you, your life, your vision, your love, your values, your heart, and the size of your dreams. I hate it when I see people whose lives get smaller and smaller and smaller as they get older and older. Like, yeah, maybe they take a vacation once a year or something like that, but they might not be actually growing, like learning, developing, having passionate, wild, amazing experiences. And I'm not even just talking about physically, but just like that level of feeling alive. Oh, yeah, I really feel that in my heart. So I just had this experience where someone that I'm a colleague with, who's helping me and collaborating with me on some parts of what I do, I just had this sense that something needed to shift in that collaboration, something needed to shift in the relationship. And in the past when I would feel that, I wouldn't say anything, but I would still kind of show up, basically checking the box, like participating in our dialogue, but not getting anything out of it in the way that I really needed and wanted, and not honoring what was really alive and true for me. And that led to my divorce. You know, I didn't speak my truth for the 5 years that I was married. I didn't even speak my truth for the, 8 months or so that I knew him before we got engaged. Like, it was just, I didn't feel safe doing it. I was never taught to value my own needs. I didn't even know what my own needs were. I didn't even know how I was feeling in my body, what my feelings and sensations were. And I look back at that time and I think, oh my God, like it wasn't a waste. There was a lot of value in that, but it was in some ways a waste of what could have been possible. Like, did I get a lot out of those 5 years? Yes. But could I have gotten...
stopped on shoulder ahead.
Sorry, my GPS. But could I have gotten way more out of that time if I had been tenacious about speaking my truth? Absolutely. And the other thing that holds us back from not speaking our truth is not only not feeling safe or not valuing our own needs or being disconnected from what we even feel or what we even need. We haven't learned how to do it skillfully. A lot of us are just black and white. We either don't speak up for our needs or we speak up for our needs in a way that is so forceful, so masculine, so aggressive, that we have a bad experience either when people have done that to us and it didn't feel good, or when we've done it to other people and it, ruined a relationship, or it made us feel like, oh my God, who have I become? So this is a really big challenge because the world is getting more and more complex, which means we need to be more and more nimble, which means we need to be more and more agents of change so we can have an amazing relationship. And you might think, well, if I make a change, it means my relationship is over. It's not true. If you make a change in terms of speaking what you need and asking for what you need as they arise, moment by moment, in a way that's graceful and feminine and vulnerable, your relationship is just going to get better. I mean, Jason and I have better physical and emotional intimacy now than the day that we met, and it just gets deeper and richer and more meaningful, and there's a deep trust in that. I feel more safe with him now than I ever have. I feel more trusting with him now than I ever have, because instead of sweeping things under the rug, instead of not paying attention to my desires or to his, like, I'm speaking them boldly from a place of love for self and other, and it's allowing us to create this really passionate, dynamic, growing, beautiful relationship. So what I find is a lot of women that I speak to, maybe their partner cheated on them, maybe he left, maybe he ghosted, maybe something happened, and they immediately go into victim mode. How could he have done this to me? And it's all about the world is against me. How could this have happened to me? And what goes hand in hand with that is blame. Like, he's an asshole, he's a cheater, he's crazy. And it's easy for the mind to do that, because when we make the other person wrong, we make ourselves right, and that can help us feel, better in the moment. But there's an air of like smugness sometimes that comes with that, and I say that because I've been in that boat before. And without even noticing it, all of a sudden you become judgmental, which creates a lot of separation. Separation is the opposite of relationship. Yes, I want you to have an interdependent relationship. I don't want you to be attached to the hip, but separation is going to cause pain, suffering, unless you're deciding that you want to live a monastic lifestyle or something like that. So what I find is that the seed of resentment just really festers when someone does something that we feel, how dare he, how dare he cheat, or how dare he lie to me, or how dare he do these things. A lot of times what resentment means is, I'm resentful that you're not doing something I want you to do. Like, I'm resentful you're not taking out the trash. Or I'm resentful you did something that hurt me. Like, I'm resentful that you cheated. I'm resentful that you left the relationship. I'm resentful that whatever it is. But if you peel that back more, that resentment is actually something that you have complete ownership over. You can feel your feelings. It's okay to feel upset, sad, all of the things. But when you have this deep level of resentment towards someone, it's a call towards where you've given up your own power. So typically if we're resentful of someone who either hasn't done something we want them to do, or has done something we didn't want them to do, we're resenting the place in us where we gave up authority. So if you're resentful for a partner not taking out the trash, what is it in you that needs someone else to take out the trash? Yes, it's nice. I love it. Jason does take out the trash. But if he didn't and I was all resentful about it, it's because I'm unwilling to do that thing for myself. It's a place where I've abandoned my own needs and where I've given up my power and my agency to take care of my own needs. And that's a total victim mentality. Not that you can't still receive someone taking care of you, but when you start to have resentments because someone's not taking care of you, or resentments because they're not willing to do the thing that you to yourself don't want to do, then that becomes a little bit ridiculous. And sorry if this is coming across as harsh. I really want to make this clear, because it's so important, and this is something that destroys so many relationships, is these seeds of resentment. They kill the relationship. It's like little grenades that get dropped, or little landmines that are just embedded in the relationship, and then at one point it just implodes. So the other side of that coin is, if someone does something that you didn't want them to do, a lot of times you're resentful because you're like, how could you do this thing to me? And we are resentful at the times that we have not done the thing that we needed for us. So when we're in victim mentality of, you did this thing to me, we aren't recognizing that there's been a million places along the way where we didn't do something for us. So what I mean by that is, let's say your partner cheats and leaves you, or they cheat and then you decide to leave them. You can have a huge amount of resentment and animosity that they did this thing to me. But 99 out of 100 times, there are fissures in the relationship. There are cracks in the relationship. Either the sexual chemistry is no longer there, or there's lots of bickering, or there's lots of resentment, or there's lots of non-disclosure. You might not be bickering, but maybe you're just staying on the surface. You're talking about what you got at Target or what happened during your day, but you're not saying, you know what, I was really pissed off when you said this earlier. It really hurt me, and I feel like I'm being picked on, and it makes me not want to open to you sexually or emotionally, and it makes me question if I even want to be in this relationship because I don't feel safe. Like, how many of us actually go to that depth and share to that degree about when something hurts, about what we need, and about what the consequences are? I wouldn't know if I would say that quite that fiercely. I'd probably be a little softer in my approach. But the key here is that when we're feeling resentful that something is done to us, it's oftentimes because there's been many points along the way where we abandoned our own needs and we were not willing. Oops, there you are. Okay, I'm gonna try to salvage this. Sorry about that. Oftentimes it comes back to those places, all those points in time in the relationship when we were not willing to do for ourselves what we needed. So we expected the other person to anticipate our needs, to do the right thing by us all the time, and they may or may not, because if we're betraying ourselves, betraying our own needs, and we're not willing to do what is needed for us by speaking our truth in the moment, then there's going to be a massive gap in reality in our relationship, and it will unfold in a way that is ultimately destructive. So I want to save you all that heartache so that when you do get in your next relationship, it's sustainable and it's lasting and it's rich and it's deep and it's juicy and it just gets better. Okay, let's try this one last time. And it just gets better and better. Or if you're single, I want to make sure that you get into a relationship with someone that creates the spaciousness and you co-create together the level of relationship where you can speak your needs in a way that is bare and raw, and you won't be rejected for it. And if someone's not willing to listen to your needs and your emotions and hold space for you there, if they shame you for that, or if they use that to manipulate you, you gotta leave. You have to leave ASAP. It's not okay to be treated that way. It's not okay to sweep those things under the rug. So I know this is a bit of a rambling road trip of a video, and you're probably just as annoyed as I am with that. This is a rambling road trip of a video. But what I want you to know is that resentment kills relationships. It has a massive cost to not speak your truth. And that when you feel resentment for someone for not doing something, it's because you yourself were not willing to do it. So you need to take a hard look at where you can take action and get your power back. And when you're resentful at someone for doing something that you wish that they didn't do, it's a time to look at all the places where you've given up speaking your truth and where you haven't been willing to do for yourself what needs to be done. So in that conversation I had with my colleague, I basically expressed, like, this is how I'm feeling. I'm not exactly even sure why I'm feeling it, but I don't need to, in my mind I'm thinking, I don't need to justify it. It's okay. This is just how I feel. And he was holding space beautifully for me with that, ended up being like a really good, refreshing dialogue. And I feel loads lighter because I don't want to carry resentment into any of my relationships, friendships, colleagues, otherwise. So if you find that you carry a lot of resentment, if you find that you've been cheated on a lot or you've had some bad behavior, I want to talk with you about that. I want to see if I can help you with that, if you're open to that, if you want help with that, because I don't want your relationships to suffer. I don't want you to suffer, and your needs absolutely matter. Like, why are you here if not for your needs to be met? It's not selfish, it's selfless. It's selfish to not speak your truth and then rob people around you of the authenticity and purity of an honest connection. So if you would like to dive deeper into this, and if you know that you need some help around speaking your truth and around getting your needs met and not feeling resentful, then let's sign up. Please sign up for some time to talk. The link to go to is violetlang.com/talk. I do free 45-minute breakthrough sessions. They're a lot of fun. They're high value. You're going to get a lot of clarity around these patterns that might be self-sabotaging your relationships, and you'll get a lot of fun as you think about the sort of vision and the sort of relationship that's possible for you when you're willing to really willing to go into those places and do the work. So thanks for riding along with me, and I will talk with you soon. Mwah.